We are used to seeing Prince Harry framed as the protector, the loyal husband, the man who walked away from royalty to shield his family from what he called a hostile system. But tonight, the narrative has shifted dramatically. Because for the first time since leaving the United Kingdom, Prince Harry is no longer fighting the press, the palace, or public opinion. He is fighting exposure. According to emerging legal filings originating in Los Angeles, the $8 million lawsuit filed by the House of Chanel is not just a fashion dispute. It is a financial, legal, and reputational crisis that places Prince Harry directly in the line of fire. This case is being publicly framed as a lawsuit against Meghan Markle, but legal experts reviewing the documents say that framing is misleading. Because buried inside the paperwork is a trail of financial activity that leads straight to the Duke of Sussex himself. Multiple purchases cited in the complaint were allegedly made using cards registered under Prince Henry Charles Albert David of Wales. That detail alone is enough to pull Harry out of the background and into the foreground of this dispute. And that is where the pressure begins. Sources familiar with the filing say Chanel is not interested in optics or public sympathy. Unlike the royal family, which traditionally absorbs scandal in silence, Chanel is a commercial institution. It operates on contracts, compliance, and consequences. And once Chanel believes fraud has occurred, it does not negotiate quietly. The allegation at the heart of this case is a practice known in the retail industry as wardrobing, the purchase, use, and return of luxury garments under false pretenses. Chanel claims this was not accidental, not occasional, but systematic. 47 separate items, 18 months, repeated patterns, consistent return excuses. This was not impulse behavior. This was logistics. And while Meghan Markle is alleged to be the public face wearing the garments, Prince Harry's name appearing on the payment instruments changes the legal landscape entirely. Because once your name is on the card, you are no longer a bystander. You are a participant. According to retail law specialists, Chanel's strategy is deliberate. They are not rushing. They allowed the pattern to develop. They documented it. They gathered physical evidence. And only when the record was unambiguous did they file. That strategy suggests something else. Chanel believes they can win, which raises a critical question. What does Prince Harry know, and when did he know it? Inside Hollywood, the lawsuit has triggered immediate concern among advisors who previously viewed Harry as insulated. One entertainment attorney, speaking anonymously, described the situation bluntly. If your spouse commits fraud and your financial instruments are involved, ignorance is not a defense. It becomes a liability. That liability is now compounded by the nature of the evidence. Chanel is not alleging hearsay. They are alleging forensic findings, microscopic fabric analysis, chemical residue, biological traces, and critically, internal video and audio evidence. The more this case unfolds, the clearer it becomes that Prince Harry is under pressure not because of public opinion, but because of paperwork. Because in a courtroom, love stories do not matter. Receipts do. And there is another layer that makes this especially dangerous for Harry: taxes. Several of the purchases cited in the complaint were allegedly logged through business entities connected to the Sussex media operation. If those purchases were written off as production or wardrobe expenses and then refunded, the issue moves beyond retail fraud. It enters federal territory. At that point, Chanel is no longer the biggest problem in the room. The Internal Revenue Service is. And that is where this story stops being about couture and starts being about consequences. As the legal analysis deepens, it is becoming increasingly clear that the pressure facing Prince Harry is not emotional, it is structural. According to individuals who have reviewed the complaint, Chanel's legal team has outlined a theory of unjust enrichment, a claim that profit was generated using the brand's intellectual property without compensation. And once again, Prince Harry's involvement is not symbolic, it is financial. Several of the disputed transactions allegedly flowed through accounts linked to Sussex-controlled production entities. These entities, according to Chanel, claimed wardrobe costs as deductible expenses. The garments were then returned, the funds were reimbursed, the deductions, however, allegedly remained. If proven, this creates a scenario known as double dipping, receiving a refund while retaining a tax benefit. That is not a civil issue, that is a federal one. Legal analysts point out that this is how high-profile cases escalate rapidly. Retail fraud becomes tax irregularity becomes audit becomes investigation. Prince Harry has spent years positioning himself as financially independent from the crown, but independence comes with responsibility, and unlike royal immunity, American tax law is unforgiving. Meanwhile, the fashion industry response has been swift and brutal. Sources in New York confirm that discussions within elite fashion circles have shifted from speculation to policy. Major luxury houses are reportedly revising informal lending practices for celebrities. Trust-based access is being replaced by deposits, collateral, and written guarantees. This matters because fashion access is currency in Hollywood, and that currency is now being revoked. According to insiders, Anna Wintour has taken a definitive position. While no public statement has been issued, multiple sources confirm that Meghan Markle is no longer under consideration for invitations to the Met Gala. That decision has ripple effects, and Prince Harry is not immune to them, because brand isolation is contagious. Hollywood operates on association. Once a couple becomes legally radioactive, invitations disappear, contracts stall, meetings go unanswered, and allies quietly step away. Prince Harry's role as a producer, speaker, and global advocate depends heavily on credibility. The moment financial impropriety enters the narrative, that credibility erodes. One former studio executive described it this way: "You can survive controversy, you cannot survive accounting questions." Adding to the pressure is the emergence of alleged internal footage, material reportedly subpoenaed from raw documentary recordings linked to the Sussex media projects. According to sources familiar with the footage, conversations captured off-camera include discussions about garment tags, concealment, and return timing. If those recordings are authenticated, the legal implications expand dramatically. Premeditation eliminates plausible deniability, and if Prince Harry is present or aware in those recordings, his legal exposure multiplies. This is no longer about defending a spouse in the court of public opinion. This is about defending oneself in an actual court. The silence from the Sussex camp is notable. No denial, no clarification, no preemptive explanation. That silence suggests one thing: lawyers are involved. And when lawyers take control, it usually means the situation is worse than the public knows. Prince Harry is under pressure because for the first time since stepping away from royal life, he is facing a system that does not negotiate through tradition or sentiment. It negotiates through statutes, and statutes do not care about titles. As the walls close in, the most damaging development for Prince Harry may not be the evidence, but the witnesses. According to multiple legal sources, Chanel's attorneys have secured cooperation from individuals inside the Sussex professional orbit. These are not anonymous staffers. These are people with reputations, contracts, and their own exposure to consider. One such individual, described as a high-profile actress with long-standing luxury brand relationships, has reportedly provided sworn testimony detailing first-hand observations of the alleged practices. Her cooperation signals a critical shift. Hollywood loyalty ends where liability begins. For Prince Harry, this represents a turning point, because once third-party witnesses begin speaking, narrative control is lost, defense strategies shrink, and settlements become the only viable exit. But Chanel is not signaling settlement, they are signaling example-making. The $8 million figure is not about fabric cost. It is punitive. It is reputational. It is designed to send a message across industries. Status does not exempt you from consequences. That message lands directly on Prince Harry's doorstep. His previous conflicts with the palace, the press, even family members were managed through distance and storytelling. This conflict is managed through subpoenas and depositions. And unlike royal disputes, this one does not end with silence. If tax authorities become involved, the scope widens beyond Chanel. Financial records, expense logs, production budgets, all subject to review. At that point, the question is no longer whether Prince Harry was aware, the question becomes whether he benefited. The pressure now facing Prince Harry is not just legal, it is existential. His post-royal identity has been built on moral clarity, on the idea that he walked away from privilege, not exploited it. This lawsuit challenges that narrative at its foundation. And as fashion houses quietly close their doors, as industry allies distance themselves, and as legal timelines accelerate, one reality becomes unavoidable. Prince Harry is no longer standing beside the story, he is standing inside it. And the next chapter will not be written by biographers or journalists, but by judges. The only question left is how much of this story the public has yet to see. Because according to sources, this is not the final filing, and the pressure is only just beginning.